these are the results of the refined strategy, which I want to be able to share with everybody here, which I'm going to also be demonstrating on the chart, how to do it, how to record the information. I'm going to provide to you the Notion template, which I've used. It's only 2 columns. It's really, really simple to do. It's already got the presets put in there for you, how to extrapolate the information, how to work it into your trading plan. Now, previously, I was taking every trade which was available, but following doing the back testing, which I've done, I've been able to refine certain areas where I want to cut out for my trading, because the win rate, in certain places, 22%. I don't want to be taking those trades when my minimum is a 1 to 4. That's a losing strategy right there. Okay, so there's trades like this, 75% win rate, okay, or 75% chance, 71%. There's one which is 78%. Okay, these sorts of trades I'm going to be taking on a regular basis. It's refined my strategy. This is how to trade with the trend. We trade pullbacks. The most important thing is how to determine a trend and how to trade that trend. Okay, so a lot of questions from the last video which I did, which was the best trading strategy ever. It definitely is. This proves it. All right, this proves it. All right, it's only a small block of information. There's only 123 data points. I'm going to go through every element of it with you on the charts in a second. Stick around. This information I have shared within my group, FTR. If you want to join us, the link is in the description. Let's get stuck in. The easiest way to get the trend direction right, first thing is, you need to set your rules. What is it that you're actually looking for on the chart? Okay, let's go back to, let's do a downtrend this time. When price is coming back down to the previous low, what is our rule for it? Are we going to be recording trades which essentially do this? All right, so that hasn't worked, but broken out and pulled back in by the close. All right, so broken out and pulled back in. Are we going to be recording the wick breaks, or are we going to be recording the body breaks, or are we going to be recording both? In this instance, we're going to be recording both. Also, at what point is CHOCH occurring? Okay, so just to mark this out, we have just had a break of structure. Okay, that's BOS, break of structure, because it's continuing in the same direction. So BOS is essentially breaks of structure after a pullback. So, go and break this low, break another low, etc. Let's just draw these on just for argument's sake. Probably got this wrong. No, it's fine. Okay, BOS, that's great. Where's CHOCH going to be on here? Okay, there's going to be all sorts of, on a lower time frame or even the same time frame, all sorts of pullbacks on this last leg. And that's fine, it doesn't matter. All what you have to do is go between the previous lowest point and the break of that, and go to the furthest point within this leg, all right? And this leg, I mean this one. Just go to the furthest point, which is right there. Okay, that is your CHOCH line. So let me just tidy that up a little bit. So CHOCH line is going to be this. If price comes up past there, you have had CHOCH, which is change of character, change of direction, whatever you want to call it. It is literally just the market saying, we're finished at the moment with the downtrend. There's potential that the market is now going to move into an uptrend. So what happens to your leg? Okay, your trading leg. Instead of your previous trading leg being down here, and yes, in a real life trading example, you might be set up for a short off the extreme. Okay, you're going to eat that loss. It just happens. You can't win every trade. There's loads and loads of scenarios that you could take, loads of confidences that you can add, but you're still going to have losses. Okay. But the new leg, because we've had CHOCH, the new leg is this, okay? So we're just looking at this leg here. We don't care really about what's happened in the past, because it's past information, Old trades get taken off, previous highs and lows get weaker over time because there's less trades there. Of course, there's still people looking at it, but it's not that important anymore. The most important thing is the current leg that you're on, okay? So what we're looking for next, if we were looking to get involved in a trade, we're looking to go long because the trend, is now up. Ooh, let's get rid of that. So the trend is now up. So therefore, we want to try and get a pullback because we don't want to be breakout traders. I've been a breakout trader for years, and but you want to wait for the pullback so you can be one of the first in that trade or that trend, and then we want to get a break of this next high. So get a break of that. job done. And that's what you want to do day in, day out. Really, really simple. Okay, now I used the H4 for my trend direction, mostly for the sessions, all right? I don't sit down and trade sessions, okay? A lot of people have asked me, what times a day do you trade? Between 5 and 10 minutes a day is basically my trading day, all right? Loads and loads of spare time now, nothing to do during the day, apart from what I want to do, okay? Why? Because I know to trade the trend. And I trade zone to zone. I don't care about trading sessions. If I want to trade sessions, I'll scalp. And this works for scalping as well, by the way. So if you do only have 2 hours a day with trading, you can just scalp. Dead simple. And I'll show you later in a future video how to do that. So, first of all, we need to set our rules. We've set our rules. We know that we're going to be trading both BOS and CHOCH, wick and body breaks. And we're going to want to record that, okay? So next up, we need to back test it, okay? We're going to jump in for charts in a second. We're going to back test. I'm going to start you off with the back testing. We're going to go from the start of January 2023 to the end of August, or mid-August. So it's mid-August now. We're going to go to like the 11th or the 12th of August. We get most of a year's worth of data. And yeah, we're just going to gather the information. So we're going to back test it on the charts, and then we're going to gather the data into a spreadsheet, okay? I'm putting it into Notion. I'm going to provide you with the spreadsheet for free. You can just download it and use it. And it should be really fast to get the information which you need, all right? And then from there, what you're going to do after gathering the data is you're going to refine your strategy. Now, that's what I've done after gathering the data. Okay, so I figured out that there's a couple of trades which I'm not going to take anymore. Okay, and they are both counter trend trades. Some of the counter trend trades I will take, but some of them I won't. And there are certain types of trades which I will always take now because I found something which has about a 75% win rate. So 75% win rate with a risk-reward ratio of a minimum of 1 to 4 in the money, right? So refining the strategy. After you've done the refinement of the strategy, you're going to backtest it again until it feels natural. So the first backtest that you're doing is taking everything, okay? So you take everything, then you gather the information, put it into a spreadsheet, then you extrapolate the data and you refine your strategy and you backtest it with the new rules that you've created, all right? So certain types of trades you'll no longer take. Other types of trades you will. And then from there, you refine it with your new entry rules. All right. So, beyond this, you'll be looking at, taking order blocks and so on and so forth on how to trade. And you just do that multiple times. Go back test, gather the data, extrapolate it, recreate the strategy slightly, go back test it until it feels natural. And then you're just ready for the live charts, and then you still got to gather the information that you're doing to see what you're doing differently on the live charts compared to just backtesting. Because backtesting, you can get into the flow, get into the zone. Now, this method I'm going to show you is so you can get into that flow state. Now, it only took me an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half, to gather all the information from this year. Essentially, this year so far, so 8.5 months worth of data on the H4. It only took me about an hour and a half. Gathering the actual data itself took another hour, and then extrapolating the data took about half an hour. So within about 3 hours, I had a refined set of rules for my trading. Okay, I knew that I was doing something slightly wrong, and it was very obvious that it was counter trend trading, but it was certain types of counter trend trading which I needed to gather the extra information on, which is what we're doing now. Okay, so let's jump over to the charts, all right? So first of all, what you're going to do is go to whatever currency pair it is that you're doing, but you're probably best off just doing Euro USD like I'm doing right now. Go to the H4, and don't worry about seeing everything on here. You don't need to flatten the chart because we're just gathering data. We're not trying to beat the chart, we're just trying to gather data. Go to the 1st of January 2023, or however far back you want to go. Ideally, you want to have a minimum of 100 entry points, all right? So, or data points. This will give you, if you've done it correctly, this will give you 123 data points. So if you end up with that at the end of August or mid-August, by the 12th of August, you've done it exactly how I would do it. Okay, so it's starting us off here. Now what I do, just to try and help me out, especially with the data gathering, is just put a vertical line on the day, which is the last day of the year. So right there. All right, so vertical line goes on. I use pink because it stands out and it's a nice color. Now, to get started, which direction are we going in? okay? Sometimes you just need to work yourself backwards and just make sure that you're going in the right direction. Because if we just go from here, it's like I would say that that is the lowest point. But in reality, I have a rule to say that even though that this is a low within here, this low was here before, and because there's no apex on that, I need to go to the previous low. That's one of my rules, which I've refined over time. Okay, you might say that you want to take this low, this little swing low, and therefore you're going to get a break. You're going to get a chock right here, whereas my chock would come in on the same candle but in a different place. But later in the chart, where you get other instances of this, you need to be consistent with your approach. Okay, so you need to set certain rules for that. So I'm just going to work myself backwards a little bit, just marking out. It's not the highs and lows; it's the BOS and CHOCH. All right. So the most obvious one here is going to be here. Therefore, I just want to mark out that this is an H4 BOS wick break. Why do I know that's a BOS wick break? Because there was another BOS right here. All right. So this was a BOS body break, H4 BOS body break. And then my low, if I go between here and here, my low was there. Okay, so that's where my chock line was going to be. Let me zoom in a little bit just to make it a little bit clearer for you. All right, so you don't need to use bar replay, but it might be helpful. You could go through, just make a chart like this, it's absolutely fine. But just for this purpose, we are going to do bar replay because I'm going to show you a little bit like when it's live charts, you can preempt when you're going to get a BOS or a chock, or where those areas are going to be, okay, to try and help you with short-term trading and stuff like that. So BOS with a body, BOS with a wick, here's your chock line. There's a sort of like internal swing, which we're not going to record on this video. There's our high point at the moment. Okay, so just move this out of the way. It's right there. All right, but I'm waiting now for the next candle or a candle to not print a higher high, so I can then mark out another line in preparation for that to be the new BOS line. All right. Oh, next candle. Right, so this is going to be BOS if we pass it. We don't need to mark it up or anything just yet. This is our chock line. Let's keep going. Okay, we're not recording how far the pullbacks are or anything like that just for this video or for this data element. We want to know how many times BOS turns into BOS, chock turns into chock, chock turns into BOS, and BOS turns into chock. All right, simple as that. And then we also want to find out if it's sort of a wick or a body, what the variations are. All right, so really, really simple. So let's just click on through. There we go. So we get our first chock. Ooh, chock with a body. All right. So I use a lot of presets which I've made. So H4 chock with a body. All right. So chock with a body. That's the high at the moment to break. Price is now pulling back. So we got a low, break at a low, and then a bit of space right here. Okay. Price is starting to pull back. This would be the BOS line if it breaks it. This is the chock line, this is the BOS line. Don't need to mark them up just yet because it would just take a load of time. Just click on through. Did we get a break? We did. What was that break with? It was a break with a wick. All right, so this was now BOS with a wick. All right, so BOS with a wick break, and therefore our chock line is going to be here. Why is it here? Because we go from the previous lowest point to the break-in point and go to the highest point between those two. That. What happens to this? Well, all what I've done with these bits is I've marked out old high and old low, put it into a different color because I'm gathering information on those in a different spreadsheet, essentially. I want to know whether or not they actually react or if they just become old supply and demand, which was for what this video was meant to be. So, you know, interesting results, let's just say. I don't think SMC traders will understand. So let's, sorry, a bit of a pop, not meaning to, anyway, let's keep going. So we've worked our way down. Was that a body break or was it a wick break? It was a body break, all right? So H4 BOS with a body break, all right? What does that mean? Where's our highest point gonna be? Well, you could say that this is a swing on the apex, but following the rule which we made for over here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to work backwards to the previous highest point. It's still here. All right, it's not here. It's not using the inside bars. Not using the inside bars for this strategy or for this data gathering. I'm just using the raw market structure. My use of the inside bars is a refinement of the strategy, okay? Which everyone else will trade as well within FTR. And if you want to join FTR, link is in the bottom. Link is in the description. I've done away now with the questionnaire, so you can literally just sign straight up and join us, which would be really cool. So there's improvements being made regularly. So what have we had here? We have had CHOCH with a body break. So CHOCH with a body break, which is really cool, which means that we now know that this is the lowest point between there and there. This is the lowest point. That's going to be our new CHOCH line if we want it. And I'll just do maybe one more, and then I'll show you what the spreadsheet looks like once you've done it. All right, so there we go. Price is starting to pull back. So we found our boss line. Okay, so if that breaks first, then this just becomes old news, possibly. Right, where's the lowest point? So that's a low of 7115. That is 7119. Low actually stays in the same place at the moment. All right, but we do have boss with a wick break. So boss with a wick break. Let's do one more just so we can hopefully move the low. Can't deny that one. Right, and that's boss with a body break. And therefore, this now just becomes an old low. And the lowest point between here and here was actually the breaking candle. So this will be our CHOCH line. All right. So once you've got all of this information, it should look something like this. There we go. So this is what it looks like when you've got the year's worth of data. It looks like a lot, but it's really not. There are actually 123 data points. So if you've got 123 at the end of yours, good job. You've done it exactly the same as me. So all what we're going to do now is we're going to add it into our Notion spreadsheet. Now that Notion spreadsheet is only got 2 columns. Okay, that's all what you need for this, because we're trying to determine the probability of the trend continuing in the same direction after boss or a CHOCH. Okay, and whether or not it's a body or a wick. Okay, so that's the refinement. The refinement is figuring out if it's a body or a wick break. Should we care? Should we not care? All right, so what we do is we go to the very start, and just a little tip when you're entering in your data, all right, is I use this start line just to try and indicate where I am, because I haven't recorded dates and times and stuff like that. It's just not relevant. And I put this on the end of where it gets announced. Okay, so this one gets announced as a boss wick break right there. Okay, so let's load up the Notion template. There we go. Okay, so the boss body break, I actually started off here. Okay, so boss body break was there, and the previous wick break, the previous break was the wick break. Then the next one would be moved to here, which is boss wick, which is recorded there. Obviously, the previous break was the boss body. And then the next one is a boss body. Therefore, the previous break was the boss wick, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it's really quite simple. All what you need to do is go down and fill out these current breaks. Now, in case you're looking at this thinking like, looks fairly complicated, all what you do is you select from the preset. Simple as that. Same with this one, simple as that. So once you've done it, you should have 123 of these things, and then to extrapolate the data, all what you do is, let's load this up fully. Well, what you do with this is you set your filters. Just got rid of mine. There's only 2 filters that you can select from, and you've got the current break and the previous break. First of all, when gathering this information, I want to know the headline figures. How many boss, how many CHOCH? How many times did the market continue in the same direction, regardless of whether or not it was a wick break or a body break? So for us to be able to do that, we just need to go to the previous break. So we need to look at the second column first in reference to the first column. Okay, so previous break, go up to here. Let's count the number of bosses, all right? So out of 123, there were boss 81 times, so that's 65% off the top of my head. And just to double check that it is gathering the information correctly, there are 42, so 42 CHOCHs, so that's, about 35% of the time. So let's say the next figure which I want to do, I want to know if we've had a boss break, okay, so boss, what are the chances that it just leads into another boss? So bear in mind there's 81, so we're now doing a count out of 81. How many times is there another boss? 50. All right, so that's a good figure. Again, about 65%. So just to double check this, boss into a chock, which means that, you know, if you've just had a boss, what are the chances that it's actually going to come down and take you out? 31 out of, what did I say? 80 odd. Yeah, so about 35% of the time. So 65% of the time at the moment on the headline figures, if you've just had a break of structure, you've got 2/3 of a chance of price continuing to break the next level of structure. I hope that makes sense. So when you're taking that pullback trade, you know 2/3 of the time you're going to be breaking that high again. You know where you should be targeting. So if you can drop down to a lower time frame and refine where you're going to be getting involved in that trade, great. You know which direction it's meant to be going in, all right? So let's say we want to refine it even further, and this is what I did, all right? So let's say after a boss body break, what are the chances that you're going to go into chock? So actually, how many boss body breaks are there? There's 32 out of 123, all right? So 32 out of 123. So if there was boss body break, about 30-ish% of the time, ish. Let's say now that we want to see chock from there. So 8 out of 32 is 25%, all right? So 25% of the time after a boss body break, it's going to come back and take you out of the trade, which means when you flip that on its head, boss body into boss, 24 out of 32, 75% chance. All right, there's your 75% which you should be taking. After you've had boss body on the H4, if you can get a refined entry on the 15 minutes on the pullback, you've got a 3 out of 4 chance that you're going to break the next break of structure on that H4. So you get your entry off the 15 minutes, you're probably going to be looking at a minimum of a 1 to 10 trade. Quite often it's going to be 1 to 20 because of the sizes. This is the only trade you should be taking. So I want you guys to go back, like literally use this spreadsheet. I'm going to make it available to you. Really, really simple. Go back, do what I've done. Look at different currencies. Look at, different, look at indices, look at stocks. I don't know if it works with them. I would assume that it does. Look at anything. Look at different time frames. Let me know what results you've had. And if you want to have more sort of mathematical / common sense trading, join us in FTR. I've got rid of the entry form because I was just so slow on responding to everybody. So you can come through, sign up, join us with trading. Okay, there's about 100 of us in there at the moment. There's potential to be a hell of a lot more. There's some phenomenal traders better than me in there. There's a guy who's funded $600,000 with 10 prop firms. Okay, so it's like, wow. Okay, because they're consistent, because they use maths in their trading. Okay, so I hope that this has been helpful. I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to make it available. This, take a screenshot if you want. There's some of the rules which I'd written out for myself when I was doing it. But trading, I understand when you're starting out that you're going to be looking around YouTube for anybody and everybody to give you this golden strategy on what to do. And I won't lie to you, 99% of the videos on YouTube are by bullshitters, okay? I can prove to you what works and what doesn't, and I can prove to you the simplicity on how to enter these trades as well. Use alerts, there's a hint. Because we're not going to be sat at the charts all day, every day. Like, I've got to go out in the next sort of half hour or so. To some people, it should be trading time. For me, no, I've got other stuff to do. I'm going to set an alert. And if, that's if I want to be cautious. I don't have to set an alert. I could just set a pending order. Okay? If I know I'm not going to be able to get to my phone, I'll set a pending order. And I only look at my charts every 4 hours once I get an alert to go off to say that we've got a new break of structure or a chock in place. Okay, so I can trade multiple pairs at the same time. It takes me 5-10 minutes a day, including getting my entries on. Okay, so that is freedom. It's what I was aiming for. I didn't want to replace a job with a job. I've now got the freedom. It's good. Trading's going well. My win rate as well has increased from 28% to nearly 50%. So, happy days. The last few months has been a good few months. Join us. Thanks for watching. Next video will be in the next few weeks. Like, subscribe, comment, etc. Help the algorithm. See you in the next one. Peace.